Let's see, I have a lot of questions. But starting off for background, I was diagnosed as manic depressive recently, or bipolar.
You know what that really means?
What? Crazy?
Well, that goes without saying. We are all that, because none of us are able to adhere to the standard of the truly sane.
But what does it mean in your...
What it really means is the contrast of your experience has helped you to launch powerful desires that are summoning enormous quantities of non-physical energy that sometimes you are in sync with and sometimes you're not. And when you're in sync with it, you soar, and when you are not, you plummet. And we would say, welcome to the family of teachers. Welcome to the family that came forth from non-physical into physical with the explicit intent of molding energy. You hit the ground running. An analogy we often offer is that imagine driving down the highway at 100 miles an hour, soaring. Now imagine driving through a forest of trees at 100 miles an hour. And so it's not a problem that you soar, it's a problem that you are picking routes where there are a lot of trees. Yes.
Now I'm on medication and I'm not soaring anymore. And I feel like I'm in a black hole. But I'm reaching for the feeling that feels better. But it's a long reach right now. And it helps to be, I'm living at my parents' home for the moment because I've only been out for a month. And they said they wanted me to be living in somewhere stable, a stable environment for 2 months.
Is it
yes,
stable?
It is. My mother's right here, so I have to say yes. But yes, it is stable.
When we ask if it is stable, what we mean is, are you pretty happy there?
Yeah.
Then
well, I'm happy with my family, but I'm not terribly happy there. And I don't think it's the actual home environment per se. I think it's where I am. And
well,
so,
we think it is that you'd rather be out on your own.
Yeah, I think...
What you might qualify that by saying, I'm as happy as a person could be doing something that they really don't want to do.
And the other thing is that
Right big by that. That was big. Well, it was bigger than it was fun.
What was big?
The statement that we made to you is big.
Yeah.
I'm as happy as I can be doing something that I don't really want to do.
Well, part of the problem is I feel like I need to propel myself in some direction before I decide to leave. I have another month before I leave.
Let's back up just a little bit, because propelling yourself is not the problem. Running into trees is.
Yeah.
And so this workshop is about the art of allowing, which means it's about getting rid of the trees.
Right.
So what you're wanting to do is reach for thoughts that feel better. So ramble just a little bit about circumstances, where you've been, what you're doing. Just ramble a little bit, and we'll show you what we mean. Pick any subject and ramble.
Well, I spent time in Russia when I was in college, and I have a master's in Russian literature, and I went to culinary school, and I went and I lived in Oregon, and I have traveled all over Europe, and I haven't been particularly happy doing any of these things, and I'm trying to find some thread to bring it all, but I really have an adventurous spirit.
All right, now, rather than talking, we're happy to hear all of that. Rather than talking about all of the things that you've been doing, now talk to us about where you are now, what's happening now. Talk about home, all of that.
I get up in the morning and I take a shower, and sometimes I go work out. And I'm having kind of a struggle because my body has changed a lot because of the drugs. And
All right, now rather than talking about what's happening now in terms of what you're doing, talk to us about what your mood or attitude is. Use feeling words about where you are.
Well, I feel proud of myself in a way because of what I've gone through, and that I feel like I've come far, but it feels kind of dark and heavy. I feel dark and heavy.
All right, now go to Russia and talk to us about how you felt while you were there.
I felt like I was independent, and I was learning constantly, and I had good friends, and I had a host family that was fantastic, and I was learning.
Now talk to us about Oregon and how you felt.
I felt terrible in Oregon. But when I first went there, the first summer I was there, it was fantastic, and I had a boyfriend, and I had a whole community of people that were there that was really amazing. And I thought that it was beautiful. Oregon is beautiful.
All right, now what we're getting at here is we're wanting you to feel your way through your emotions. And so give us 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 words that describes the predominant feeling or mood that you feel now, lately, at home, where you are now.
Dark, heavy, working really hard.
Now describe Russia.
Movement, vivid, learning, growth, excitement.
Now describe Oregon.
Dark, part of it, but exciting. I mean, I have a hard time because there's a lot of perception of who I am and my family too, and there's a lot of laughing that goes on. And I think that's...
Oh, well,
I've done a lot of silly things.
You have a wonderful family, and we're in no way wanting to imply that you are in the wrong place.
Yeah.
What we're wanting to demonstrate here, there's no right or wrong in this. Some spaces in time, when you reflect back on them, are valve opening and connecting for reasons that we don't even have to get into.
Right.
Some are valve closing for reasons that we don't even have to get into. What we were wanting to demonstrate for you here is that by picking and choosing different subjects, you open and close and open and close. You are not an open being, nor are you a closed being, or is anyone. You are allowing the energy to flow or not allowing the energy to flow, depending upon what you are giving your attention to. And we would say that most of the people that are just listening in to this new subject of you, as we are chewing together here, could feel the difference in the different cities that you are talking about. In other words, as you focused upon them, everyone could feel movement in their solar plexus. They could feel the energy being allowed to flow, and they could feel the energy not being allowed to flow. It feels, especially when you are a young, eager tiger like you are. In other words, you come forth sort of wanting to set the world on fire. There is so much that you want to do. This is the non-physical spirit or energy that is flowing through you. So much enthusiasm for life experience. But sometimes when you get in the middle of an experience, as we've been talking all day here today, there are so many things that are out of whack with it that you take it upon yourself as a sort of your personal responsibility to get things lined up so that you can feel better. And what we are wanting to say to you in a way that you really hear it is you don't have to fix anything. It's not your job to make Oregon better. It's not your job to make this part of the world better, or the segment of your life called living at home temporarily with my parents again better. That's not your work. It's only your work to reach for thoughts, past, present, future, or imagined, that are valve opening as you contemplate them. And as you show yourself that you have the ability to feel by virtue of the choices that you make, you will be free of all of this.
Now, I heard you on a tape talking about the medication with someone who's obsessive compulsive. And what exactly does the medication do for me? And the other thing is, the doctors believe that I should be on, the prevailing view with manic depressives is, that's it forever. You remain on the medication for the rest of your life. So I don't hold that view myself, and I don't intend on staying on, I don't want to stay on the medication for the rest of my life.
Well, there again, do not try to stand where you are and make all the decisions forevermore. Instead, just say, serving me pretty good right now. I'm appreciating its existence. It did bring me away from that really strong negative feeling that I had. I did receive some measure of relief from it. I will use it temporarily, but I'll make my decisions as I go along. You don't have to side forever and ever, nor do you have to know how it affects anyone else, nor do you really have to know what Abraham thinks about it. In other words, we would like you to say, Abraham, I really don't give a rip what you think about this. This is what I've decided to do. Can you help me?
Right.
Our friend earlier said, Abraham, do you have judgment about this? Do you have judgment about something? And our judgment, our desire for you is that you find a way, some way, anyway, to reconnect with your source energy. And sometimes a drug can help you because it causes you to focus less specifically on the things that are causing resistance within you. You hear us talk, and many would say, well, Abraham, we've heard enough of you to know that you are really not encouraging the drug. And we say, well, we do not encourage the forever using of the drug because it's like putting Novocaine in the fingers so that even though the stove is hot, And even though your hand is so numb, you don't feel any discomfort from it, and so there is no real reason to pull away from it. And yet at the same time, in the right now experience, we're glad your hand does not hurt.
Yeah.
And we do not feel that this is analogous in the sense that you are doing damage to your body by taking the drug like you would do damage to your hand by laying it on the stove. The analogy does not hold water in that degree. And so we would say, appreciate the drug because it is giving you some stability. Are you using the drug today?
Yeah.
And yet, using the drug, we're still having this conversation, and we still felt energy movement within you. Mm-hmm. You could feel the difference between the dark feeling of Oregon, and we are not saying that Oregon is dark, and the more energetic feeling of Russia. Mm-hmm. You could feel the difference in that. So your drug is not so severe that it has numbed your ability to sense. What it has done is giving you some stability while you still can use your mind to find your true allowing.
Right.
Yes.
The thing that, what's hard for me right now is that I feel like, there are so many things. You said, I don't have to fix Oregon, I don't have to fix the part of the world I'm in, and this and that. But I'm trying to decide what to do with myself. And because I'm 27 and I still have a whole life ahead of me. And I just feel completely stopped up. And is it just a question of just simply that I don't need to decide right now?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. When we say you're an eternal being and you mm-hmm. say, well, I'm standing here in the middle of one of my physical incarnations, and for this moment in time, I don't know exactly what I want to do with the rest of my life. We say, you're right on schedule. You will never know in any point in time what you want to do with the rest of your life. You are an eternal being. And we will also say to you that those people who have decided right now what they're going to do for the rest of their life are pretty much done. Because they are saying, it does not matter what expanding ideas factor into my future experience. I am stuck in this choice. No one really is, but there are plenty who try to hold there, and we say it is such an unnatural state of being.
All right. Well, and then one other thing, I'm sorry, I'm being greedy. But,
Do you mean that?
I think I do a little bit.
Because we think that's at the heart of some of this discomfort here. In other words, somehow or other, and you're not alone in this, many people come to this place, but you're not as happy about who you are as we are happy about who you are. Somehow you've decided to take a snapshot of where you are and compare it with who knows what and deem yourself inappropriate about where you stand. And we do not understand why you would do that. Does a basketball player who is destined to be the most brilliant in the world condemn himself when he is 6 and can't bounce the ball? Does the surgeon that is coming along who will save lives with the brilliance of his mind and clarity of his being and dexterity of his hands, does he condemn himself because he cannot win at marbles when he's 4? Or do you allow yourself in this eternal becoming? What are you comparing yourself to? How come you keep coming out on the bottom? Your society does it to you to a great extent. You take a clump of children that are all similar age and similar size and cram them into a little schoolroom box and give them standards and then compare them one with another and smile under these conditions and frown under these conditions and give good grades under these conditions and bad grades under those conditions. You literally condition each other to want to find approval outside. And that is detrimental to all who participate because you come forth with such variety. You didn't intend to be the same. You intended to be different, you see. We think that your comparison started early, and it doesn't just come from your family. It came from your peers. It came from your schools. It came from your society. You're sensitive to energy. In other words, you've just done a number on yourself. A lot of people do by comparing yourself with so many things and determining that you are inappropriate. Many of your statements here began with, well, the problem with this is, and the problem that I have with this is, and I'm sorry that I'm taking up too much time here, and I'm being greedy, and you are feeling that you stand in an appropriate place and you are wanting someone else to deem you appropriate. And we say, while we do, it must come from you.